Alright, so Gx470 Lexus 2007 model. So we're going to get in here and swap out the CV axle. It is going bad right here, which is kind of common on those. So obviously first thing you want to do is get your tire off and get your truck supported safely. Next thing is going to be remove the caliper as well as the brake line on the spindle. You want that to come off as well. So we got that. And then we got these two. Oh, that's a little in the way. Oh goodness. Oh man. I'd like to be able to do that with an impact. We're on it. There we go. Got her. Okay. So I'm going to wiggle this thing off, and what you want to do is use some type of a little S hook or something to hang the part back. Okay, we've got, goodness, we have also got some ABS stuff going on, so I'm not going to go too far. I'm just going to get it slightly out of my way here. Let's see, hook. I'm going to go it all the way. Hook. And where would be good? I think I might need to. That doesn't belong there. All right, let's see. What about that? Okay, that's not bad, but it is putting some pressure on the ABS, so I need to be careful. I want to get that loose. All right, that's one. The other one is a little push-in fitting. There we go. All right, that's loose enough. Now I can kind of move this thing farther out of the way. Maybe I'll put it on the frame rail right up here. There we go. All right, so that's considerably out of the way for what we're doing. All right, next is the two bolts underneath right here and here. I do believe those are 19. Let's see. Yeah. 1, 2. Now. All right, so let's pull that brake ring off, and what I'm going to do next is remove this cover. Somebody has really destroyed this before I owned it. But what you want to do is just try to drive a wedge until you can start to see it separate a little bit, which it's doing. There we go. Alrighty. Cotter pin. Alright. Next thing, that little retainer comes off. And that's a 35, and I got to dig it out of my toolbox. So I'll be right back. right, that's loose. Now, you're gonna take, I need a pry bar. And fellas and fellettes, the best time to do this is when it's about 97 degrees in the shade and 80% humidity. That way you can lose weight while you're doing the job. Alright, so that comes right away. We're gonna move that a little to the side and leave it. And as you can see, we've got a bad boot. So I do have this jacked on one side, which should prevent fluid from coming out of the transmission or the diff down here when I separate this. So I'm going to go ahead and get a wedge tool in there and see if I can just pop her loose. There we go. Now, I'm going to have a rag on hand just in case. If it decides to leak, I'm going to have a rag and a bag ready to stuff in there. There we go. Now, I think we're in good shape. It doesn't want to leak, just like I said, because we're on a slight angle. If you jack the truck up evenly, then you're going to have some fluid loss. So, you know, it might be a good time to change your oil, your diff fluid, if that's the case. Now, the axle that I'm putting back does not have my little retainer clip, so I've got to steal that one off of here and pop it onto the one that I've just freshly rebooted. So I want to address something that I've learned from watching other people's videos. A lot of times, now this one went bad right here, but a lot of times you're going to have issues here. And the reason is with, okay, so if you have a non-lifted truck, Toyota or whatever, then those two are going to be fine. But once you lift, then your angle changes considerably, and you're going to start to get that rubber pinching each other. And what that does over time is it wears on each other, and it makes your boot go bad here. Now, I can't tell you why it did that, but I'm just going to go with probably the angles. Now, this truck is not lifted terribly. It's got a 2 to 3 inch lift, and then I've got so much weight on it, it's probably less than a 2-inch lift, all said and done. But nevertheless, that happens. So you always want to keep an eye on your inners, because your inners are where they go bad. I'm going to take this thing inside to the bench with the other one and swap that pin out. Alright, so I decided to just do it where I am here, but that was relatively easy. I just lifted up a little bit and pried under it with a screwdriver. It can be pushed straight down and over because the gap is not is just barely, you know, smaller than the perimeter size of that ring. So anyway, we're going to slide this sucker right back. Now, I have heard that the best way to make this thing seat neatly or quick is to go in with the opening in the wrist pin down. And that is where she's gonna pop, you know, into place. Alright, so my battery died there, but I promise you that did not take long. But the ticket is, what you want to do is when you're coming in, you want to get the pry bar on that little guy there, on one of these little notches around there, and just give it a couple taps, and she'll slide right in like it did. I got to put this other battery back on charge, and I will be right back to assemble this. And as you can see, I mean, that was a piece of cake. All we got to do is reverse what we just did, and we're back in business. So I'll be right back. All right, so I'm just going to add a little bit of grease to this surface. All right, I'm going to pick this up out of the way, give it a little cockeyed. And we're going to ease it back together. Just like that. Yep, we are back. And what was the last thing we did taking it off? I'm gonna go with our two really weird, hard to find Toyota bolts that go at the bottom. Make sure you tighten the ever-living you-know-what out of these, because I once lost one and it's a nightmare to replace. I still have an oddball on the other side because I literally can't find these, and I've looked at like 5 different part numbers and called Toyota and a bunch of people. In fact, if anybody knows where I can get one so I can replace that one on the other side, so that it's back to original equipment, I would be very grateful. Yep, you really want, I think the torque specs on those are really effing tight. So do that. Same with the axle nut. And to get those tight, I normally use the bolt breaker 3000 here. So now we gotta just put our brakes back together. Good time to inspect those. When you're running 35s and about 6,000 pounds of weight, you will go through some brakes. As I do, I'm good for about 20,000 miles typically. And I can visually see that I'm still good with these. Where's my little flat blade that I had? There it is. Yeah, I can still see plenty of pad right there. Plenty of pad. So, even though they're covered in dirt, they live in the swamps. Anyhow, let's get that back on around here. Around here. Oh, I know something that we need real quick before we do this. We need a brake rotor. These little guys are super important for stopping. They've stops a lot better with them, and also the brake caliper fits better when you have the rotor on the truck. Yep, that's it. Get the other one. Yep, much easier once you got one. I'm gonna get my ratchet wrench because I can't really get this impactor on the bottom one so well. Not a lot of room. I think I might have said it already, but at least on this Lexus, and I'm pretty sure the 4Runner to Tacoma, they're going to be 17 millimeter here. And make sure that you don't, make sure you're doing the right ones, because if you take these out, that splits this thing, and that's not what you want to do. You want the you want these inner ones. Also, while we're in here, if anybody's ever trying to do a brake job on one of these, super easy. You don't have to take anything apart. You just got to pull these pins and the brake pads slide out and right in. Very easy job. Provided you don't have just dirt and rust and that kind of mess, you know, prohibiting your access to the bolts and getting them stuff apart. So I like to give them a nice impact with steel just to make sure. Shock them good and tight. All right, we're about done. Just got to remember to reattach the ABS, excuse me, the brake line with the ABS. Don't need that one too tight. This guy up here, I broke that a long time ago, and that's where she lives. Next, pop that right in, and I think we're good. Maybe I'll put another little tiny zip tie on that back keeper right there, just to make everyone happy. You can hear the roof tinging because the heat is so intense that the aluminum roof that I'm under is just crackling. It's crazy hot. It's mid to late July 2025. That's it, and these are easy, man. It's not something that should intimidate you. So it's something that you should be aware of, and I might have made a little mistake here, but hopefully everything's okay. But my boot is drawing suction, and that means that it is pulled out this way some from when I built it, and it doesn't have the air inside to allow it to fill that cavity. That could be a problem. So anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, this is not a difficult job. It literally takes about 20 minutes, and I've done them in the woods in that amount of time as well. Just got to have a couple of tools. The 35 is probably the main thing. I highly recommend having a nice cordless impact, so you're not fighting that 35 with a breaker bar. 17 millimeter, 12 millimeter, 19 millimeter, 35 millimeter. That's all you need on this job. And some good long 17s to be able to impact with a hammer to get those bolts loose. Doesn't hurt, just saying. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you liked the video. This is Milo with Lexus Alexis. Please like and subscribe. Tell your friends. We will see you on the next one. So, quick update on that vacuum. What I did was I released the pin, the little cam pin on the sleeve, which are awesome, by the way, and I stuck a screwdriver in here and it sucked air right in, so we are good to go. And that does make me feel a little better. Anyway, peace out, y'all.